Hello everyone, in this video I will be discussing the situation with Burner Maggot, or formerly known as Burning Ash. He is the map creator for the Graveyard Lover map and for the Stench in the Bush map, both of which are both necrophile maps. So, first things first, I would like to start off with the drama with Burner and I. So, I was a participant for the Graveyard Lover map. I finished my part, I completed it. All was fine and dandy. But then some drama happened about me after I left the Anal Bones server. And people were calling me a pedophile and several other things. Because I had drawn two characters playing in a bathtub. It was not sexual at all. In fact, I can actually put the image up right here, right now, as you can see it. Not sexual, not anything at all. Burner wants to call me a pro-shipper and a pedophile for this. I am not. I am against those things. And for the other things that I was called for being a pedophile for was a ref of my own OC in his younger years at like 12 to 14. Mind you, I am a minor. I am 17. Um and all of this drama is like over 6 months old and people are just picking it back up now. But here's the image that I drew that people are calling me a pedophile for. The image has since been edited to not be as provocative. But apparently, drawing a butt is sexual now. Okay. Also, people are getting on me because I was in a pro ship server. Let me explain why I was in that server. So first of all, I had been invited to that server because I was not in a good headspace. I honestly just wanted to make friends with people that had the same interests as me. And also, I wanted to snoop around in that server to see if those people were as bad as people were really saying that they were. They were. They were as bad as as people were saying. So I left it. I left it silently. And people are also asking me, oh, why did your first rendition of Younger Dakota have quote unquote a bulge? Okay. That was legitimately for anatomical purposes. I am going to be very clear with you on that. That was for anatomical purposes. That was not meant to be sexual at all. And also people are saying that, oh, you drew him in a thong, you drew him in a Speedo. Those are boxer briefs that younger boys wear like all the time. My dad owns a pair of boxer briefs. I've seen kids' boxer briefs like at the store. Like, I know people that wear them. It's not that weird. It's not that weird at all. Also, I would like to add on that underwear ref of him. Yes, I did make that for a reason because there are parts in his story that Dakota is going to be like in his underwear. That's not that weird. Kids are in their underwear all the time in media. Like all the fucking time. That is not weird. Um Also, the style of his underwear was also based off of his adult ref that also has that same style of underwear, boxer briefs. They don't cover up the thighs, they only cover up the hips and the junk. It is not that weird. I don't know why people are sexualizing it. It's not meant to be sexual at all. Also, around this time that I was being groomed, I was having a lot of really bad thoughts. Again, as I mentioned, I was not in a good headspace. I had contemplated um drawing uh the junk on him, but I never actually did it. Somebody encouraged me to try and do it, and again, I did not do it. But they even gave me a nice little drawing example of how I should do it, and they also said that they wanted to rim him. He's 14. Again, I already said my reason to why I was thinking about that. I was being groomed. I was in a server that was full of adults and they were making me do things that I shouldn't have been doing. And also, they were perfectly fine with like sexualizing teenagers and stuff. I do also want to point out the racist things that I said that were not like directed towards anybody, by the way. Like at all. I was being satirical. I was being satirical about what a character of mine would do to like other races because he's a racist prick. He's a fucking bigot. Like, and then people wanted to say that I made a Nazi OC. Okay, so first of all, I didn't. I never have. He just happened to be an adult during World War II. He's not even German. He's Russian, and he is part of Dakota's backstory. Um, yeah. I mean, what I said was, yeah, like fucked up, and like way over the top. But the thing was, is that other people in the Necro Jimbo server were making similar jokes. They were all making rape jokes. They were all making racist jokes. I honestly didn't see anything different with what I said. But I'm not racist. I don't have a hatred for other races. So, Burner is in contact with somebody named Smokey. Now, Smokey was formerly known as Pink Ocelot. Asher already did a video on Pink Ocelot because Pink Ocelot is like has drawn zoophile art and also posted pictures of Asher's face on the internet. We're pretty confident that Burner is grooming Smokey because Smokey is 14. And also, they keep commenting on each other's posts and stuff and just like hyping each other up. And that's very weird for an 18-year-old to suddenly get into contact with a 14-year-old that has known Asher and that has harassed Asher before. Pink Ocelot, or Smokey, also knows that Burner has been harassing and posting about Asher since October. Coming back to me again, I want to mention the absolute disgusting behavior of the Necrojimbo server and Anal Bones as a whole. So, one of the reasons that I was banned, I already covered that, but one of the reasons that I didn't cover that I was banned from the Necrojimbo server was that I said that race swapping was racist. It is 100% racist. You should not change a character's race just because it doesn't matter what race you change it to or what race they were to begin with. It is racist. Because why are you changing a character's race to begin with? That literally means that you do not like that race. And another thing is their hypocrisy. I don't know if you've noticed, but Anal Bones did cover a video on me And the entire video is literally him just dogging on me for having, like OCD symptoms. I will admit, yes, I was an idiot. But he also covers, somebody they claim was suicide baiting. She was not suicide baiting. She had literally been pushed to the brink of suicide because of Burner. Also, a good portion of the video is just screenshots of him and his friends just like theorizing about shit and not any actual evidence. Back to the hypocrisy. I had mentioned earlier that they said that I had a Nazi OC. Again, I do not. I have already covered that. So they want to flip out about that, and Dylan also wants to harass a 15-year-old for having a World War II OC. Meanwhile, in the Necro Jimbo server, there are multiple Hitler Jimbos. There is also a Jimbo based off of 9/11. Not to mention Anal Bones' Jimbos himself, Map Jimbo, and Necro Jimbo, which are based off of necrophilia and pedophilia. I will admit that me, myself, I have Jimbo OCs, and I love them very dearly. That being, Cartolo Jimbo, X-Ray Jimbo, and Rabies Jimbo. I do plan on getting rid of Cartolo Jimbo because it is a paraphilia. So just putting that out there, I will obviously might give him to somebody else that wants him. I will say I was a part of the Necro Jimbo series. I was obviously naive. I was young. But now that I have left the fandom, I would like to point out that it is very weird to take a minor's OC and twist it into this strange paraphilic entity. And not only that, but to take it and make it into your own species is very, odd. Yes, Jimbo Jimmy, I forget the numbers, was problematic, but that is not an excuse to twist what a child has made. The next thing I'm going to cover is how Burner had an NSFW account and shared gore with minors, and also let minors into his NSFW account and even encouraged them to go look at the NSFW account. I mean, I don't really know how to explain this next part, like, actually, other than just showing screenshots that you can pause the video and look at. I am going to give you a warning, though, because these images are NSFW, even though they have been censored. There's still NSFW, and some of this is, considered quote-unquote guru, which is a form of gore porn in anime. This is not guru, this is straight up necrophile fucking porn. Okay, starting off, this isn't that bad. This is just the start of it. Getting into weirder territory now, you can see with the obvious fart fetish. More piss fetish art will be seen, unfortunately. I'm so sorry for all of this. Actually, that you're needing to see this. Okay, now we are getting into the necrophiliac art and the gore territory. This next thing isn't necro, but it's something that he animated that's just very questionable.
Stripped of all your clothes and fucking dignity too. You can scream all you want, bitch, but no one can hear you.
Another very questionable thing that he animated, this is also going to go into the topic of suicide, and suicide with real people. You have been warned.
Buried in a shallow grave. Take a closer look. Maggots consume the flesh of the life I just took.
Just a reminder that all of his stuff on his YouTube and his Instagram are not privated. This was all open to the public. The Instagram now has been deleted, but he plans to make another Instagram. Now I will go over Burner's weird behavior and honestly grooming with my friend Patrick, who just turned 15. Now I am going to read Patrick's testimony, and basically just a whole explanation about how he met Burner and other stuff, starting now. I met Burner through the Stench in the Bush map around early 2024 when I was 13 and extremely suicidal after being groomed and abandoned by my old friends. I was looking for some kind of purpose to distract myself from how I was feeling about myself. I applied for Part 10 and was immediately put off at first. It may have just been my anxiety since this was the first ever map I was in, but I was also intimidated by the people in the server, but I was a little bit comforted by the fact that Analbones, a person I idolized at the time, was also part of the map. I posted a reference sheet of the characters I initially planned to use, and Burner complimented them and the following whips in the first version of the finished part. He seemed nice, and at the time, he was. We talked regularly in the map server, and I even vented to him about being groomed previously, and he either comforted me or just clowned on the guy. I don't really remember that part. We continued to talk pretty regularly, and he sent me a friend request, so we took our talk to DMs, where he wanted to do an art trade with me. I drew my part, but he never returned his part, which I was upset about at first, but eventually forgave him for. But the sketch for his part included self-harm wounds, which I didn't mind at the time because I was fine with gore and even drew it myself, unaware he was legitimately into self-harm. A few months after I turned 14, after the topic of the art trade was dropped, he started talking to me about Asher supposedly scamming someone, which was later revealed that Asher paid $20 for a headshot that she did not receive. So she asked for a refund and did not receive the money after the person confirmed the refund, so which they sent a Cash App / PayPal to ask for their money back. Around July, I discovered I was genuinely aromantic, so I went to Burner and asked how to break up with my ex-partner, which he did give me some good advice at the time. We continued to chat regularly in servers and DMs, and I admitted to him that I saw him as an older brother and he thought that it was cute. Also, he thought that it was silly or cute that I used to think that I was a necrophile. He frequently complimented my art and said how good my art was for my age, and even doodled some art of my persona. He talked to me about high school since I was nervous about starting it, and we talked about his job as a cashier, and I admired him for it, since I do not work. We started to get closer as friends, and he frequently would ask me about my day or ask me to tell stories about myself. I'd make art for him, and he liked the collages I liked to make, where I'd edit pictures of meat together with my art and software, and would ask me to make them for him so he could use them as backgrounds for his animation. Around the time the Graveyard Lover map call came out, he started getting weirder and started sending me videos without warning where he shoved his ass against the camera and record him farting. I was a little uncomfortable, but even then I pretended to laugh since I didn't want to upset him with the other weird screenshots, which I unfortunately don't remember the story behind, but he made weird sexual jokes in response to my art. He started gifting me nitro and stuff, which eventually became him into commissioning me to make art for him, which I was already doing for free frequently because I liked him and I wanted to make him happy. I made him a gift for both Halloween and another for his birthday. It made me feel appreciated when he'd make his profile on his socials my art, and when he'd commission me to draw ship art between him and Jimmy. He commissioned me again for the art of his son harming himself. While I was working on it, he told me a story about how a clearly ill woman came into the bathroom at his work and had an accident, and he sent me pictures of her shit that was on the ground I never asked for, neither for the story or for the pictures. He confronted me about being friends with Rabid, me, and that was the last I heard of him before all the drama. And if he's gonna say that it was a mouth fart that he made by pressing his hands against his mouth, here is what a hand against mouth fart sounds like. Again, sounds nothing like the video. Also, another note from Patrick. Any inconsistencies are probably me not either remembering shit or not being able to find old messages because he tried to damage control me getting evidence by banning me from all of his servers.
Okay, so my experience with Mr. Maggot, if you're wondering why my mic quality is ass, I don't have my headset right now, and I'm using, like, my raw phone mic. So, there's this guy by the name of Marcus. He barely has any, like, thingy-madoodles with this situation, but what's important is he had a girlfriend at the time who was, Rascal. Rascal didn't know know about any of the incredibly problematic stuff that he did to all of my friends. So then, in a confrontation GC, I guess, we told Rascal everything, she broke up, and we became friends with her. And then this also led to Marcus drawing rape art of one of my friends. He was 12. Marcus was 16. This is important, but this won't come up until later. So then Rascal and I become like best friends, I guess. I was 11, 12. She was, I think, 16, 17. Like, yeah, she was like, when I met her, I was 11, she was 16, but then, like, I invite her, around the time she turned 17, and me 12, I invite her to this server called That Guy's Basement, and it's basically raunchy humor, nonsense, like, horrid. I still have fond memories of that server, but the only thing that I don't like is he was there. Maggot. So, with Maggot, what happens is, like, Maggot was there, and he was just really weird. He did a bunch of stuff, but because, like, he was doing stuff that a lot of other people in the server saw as normal, because of the humor there, we didn't really pick up on it, like, the gore, the multiple times he sent porn that he drew, like, uncensored porn, to minors. I'm pretty sure, like, continuing on, Rascal was in there, and, like, it was fine. And then, like, me and Rascal did an RP, and here's the thing about Rascal. Since Rascal was 7 or 6, she's had this special interest for snakes and hypnosis, and in her server, she liked to roleplay, and it wasn't weird RP, it was normal RP, but sometimes it included a little bit of hypnosis, because that's what a lot of people in that server liked. Not in a kink way, but, like, they were interested in it. But then, me and her do a little RP, and it involves the slightest bit of hypnosis. And then, Maggot, Rascal sends the invite to the server in the basement, and then Maggot and a bunch of people join, see the RP, and everyone was fine with it, I believe, and except for Maggot, who immediately started going around saying Rascal was a grooming king. The RP wasn't weird at all, it was consensual. We both volunteered for it, and, like, oh my god. And continuing on, like, Maggot went to a bunch of people and started, like, gaslighting them and, like, convincing them, Rascal bad, me good, Rascal groomer, she attracted to children. And then what happened is, they all ganged up on her, forced her to cut contact with me, and then, after that, things started getting a little weirder. Maggot would draw weird art of me. I was 12, he was, I think, 18 or 17. He would call himself my protector and caretaker, despite actively, doing the opposite of those, and, like, doing really weird stuff. Not just any of this, though. So then, I realized this, but I don't tell him. And the thing about me, I was diagnosed with autism at, like, an early age, but with the autism I got, my brain developed a lot more than a lot of other people at my age. So, I think you could probably say, like, gifted or whatnot, but whatever, but, like, I could, like, very well, like, understand everything that was going around me. I wasn't stupid. So then what happens is I get back in contact with Rascal, apologize to her for something I didn't do, but I just felt like it's my fault. I was doesn't work. And then, a big split happens in the basement, and there's this larger server called the Coffee Shop, which has about, like, 80 people, and a smaller server called the Garden Grubs, which has about, I think, 10 or 20 people. The Coffee Shop is the people that, like, supported Rascal, and the Grubs were the people that supported Maggot. Coffee Shop is still active to this day. Garden Grubs is super dead. There were some neutral people that were in both servers, and I'm pretty sure Maggot even tried to join the Coffee Shop, but was immediately banned. So then, Maggot barely does not contact me because, okay, so then after all this, I block Maggot and he doesn't contact me. So then I see he makes multiple, and then because it makes me genuinely sick looking at any of Maggot's, like, posts and things. So then, after a while, I, like, bring myself to look at his, like, thingamajig to see that he's made multiple videos on Rascal. He's made, like, hundreds of posts, plus this person that I didn't know, but that I actually ended up meeting, like, I think a while back. I think they're, whatever. Sorry. Oh, got lost in thought. So, like, Maggot made a billion posts about Rascal and Asher. And from what I understand, Asher isn't weird either. I think the reason why this was happening, I could be, like, horribly wrong, but Asher was, like, dating someone that they had a 1-year age gap in, which, nothing is wrong with that. What? So then, I didn't watch the video, but someone did for me, and then it was literally just 10 minutes of mentally ill rambling, from what I heard, and also he kept trying to spread that King, aka me, is a stupid baby, and I didn't know any better. But the thing is, like I said earlier, I developed more than I developed freakishly more than a lot of other people my age, so I could comprehend exactly what was happening. I wasn't being groomed. I knew this. And the thing is, when all that happened, they tried to gaslight me into thinking, oh, you were being groomed. And the worst part, because I didn't really have, with Maggot, I trusted him. I trusted him. So I believed it. I believed it. But then, after all this, I hear that Maggot became friends with Marcus, the guy who I was talking about earlier. And he started spreading that Rascal was apparently a Zionist, a groomer as well. And also, here's the thing about Marcus. He's been harassing me and my friend group for about 5 or 6 years now. It's bad. He may or may not be a neo-Nazi. There's an entire server, like, archiving everything he's done. He's not a good person. And it's not just, like, the neo-Nazi stuff. Yeah, way too much stuff for me to explain here, but, like, they became friends. Even though Maggot had actually drawn art of Marcus, who was about 15 at the time, getting a screwdriver shoved up his pee hole. And he drew it as a gift to me, and when I saw that, I was actually disgusted, but I didn't want to tell him. So I pretended, oh, this is funny, haha, Marcus deserves this. I was actually disgusted when I saw that. Like, not even trying to be funny, I was disgusted. And then I dug a little deeper. Maggot, he's a necrophile, a neo-Nazi. The thing is, on a whiteboard, Maggot drew art of his persona in, like, Nazi uniform, doing shouting, "I love my Führer." And also he drew like a swastika inside of a heart, but I thought he was just trying to be funny. I didn't know he meant it. And the thing is, not everyone, except for I think Slug, hates Maggot in the friend group. Like, everyone. And then, I see, with Rascal, literally everything dies down. Until a month ago, I checked my Straw page, which I had pretty much just finished, and I saw Maggot had left a piece of art and a comment in which he asked me, "Who's your favorite Danny's World character?" "Mine's Gassy Tisha!" And then he drew art of his little, creature, waving at me, "Hi, Squidward," and, saying that shit. And the thing is, when Maggot sent that thing on my Straw page, I think it was very clear that he knew that I hated him, because he's really obsessive. He stalks people. I've commented on Asher and Rascal stuff that I hate him, and he keeps saying, on that one post he said, "You forget that I have eyes everywhere," wiggles my finger. He definitely knows I hate him. So that stupid thing on the Straw page where he was trying to act all friendly, I just find that really weird. In the basement, that's not what I'm focusing on. In the basement, he sent a very graphic video of a woman dancing in the middle of a street, and then she got ran over by a car, and you could see the pile of blood and bits and chunks of skin and other stuff lining the road as she got dragged, and it was really graphic. I didn't see it, but a bunch of the other people did, and then they were immediately disgusted, started screaming. This was all in a VC, by the way. Maggot was laughing his ass off, and then everyone started fucking screaming at him. It was disgusting. After he got yelled at by a bunch of people, he was forced to delete it.
There's also evidence of him being friends with a baby fur or just doing an art trade with a baby fur. We don't know if they're actually friends. But a baby fur is just a furry version of an adult diaper lover who is somebody who roleplays sexually as a baby. We also have evidence of him harming his brother for money. He was paid $20 for this. And also killing animals. Here are the screenshots for that right here. Another thing, Burner's friends are also, going after me. Now, Uffy has deleted both of his posts because I fucking embarrassed him. Because I called him out on his bullshit. I do not have a rabies kink. I don't know where the fuck this came from. Yes, my Sona has rabies and my username is Rabbit Bites. That has nothing to do with kink shit. Rabies is a virus that is incurable and kills people. There is nothing sexual about that. And it's not even funny to sexualize it. Another thing with Burner, with him, exposing his fetish to minors, he has a fart fetish, and I think that's pretty obvious from, the content that he posts on his YouTube. But he has a dev team, apparently now, on Roblox, where he made a Gassy Tisha game. I really do think that if this whole Gassy Tisha and fart thing was a joke, he's way too dedicated to it. This is screenshots from, the actual gameplay. Actual pictures of fucking feces. Are you kidding me? There is no way in hell that you can tell me that this is not a fetish. This has to be a fetish. If it's a joke, it's gone way too far. Not to mention that this game also has fetish content in it, such as the inflation art. This is on a platform that was made for kids ages 12 and up. Here's just some concerning shit that he's also exposing his child fan base to, and also some stuff that he drew on a whiteboard that was also with a bunch of minors, and also stuff that he drew on a Gardic phone that was also filled with minors. Bringing up another thing, with the Necrojimbo server and again with their hypocrisy, look at the shit that they were saying about me, like, after I had gotten banned. None of this is even relevant to my drama. I don't know why they're bringing any of it up. Again, this is also evidence of them just attacking people for venting. And now I guess I should say, like, why I was uncomfortable with the dog and why I was saying these things. So, the dog that I live with is not mine. It belongs to my mother's boyfriend, and this dog is a cattle dog. Her boyfriend refuses to correct this dog's behavior. She goes after my cats constantly. She has no sense of personal space. I get that because she's a dog, but, like, come on. And she also jumps up on people. Again, that's a thing that a dog does. But when she jumps, she also bites. And frequently, when she jumps up on me, she goes for my face. I have been bitten by this dog multiple times, and again, there has been no correction for her behavior. All my life, I have had a fear of dogs. Dogs make me uncomfortable. I don't like being around them. I don't want them near me. I don't even want them sniffing me or looking at me. They make me uncomfortable. And also the thing with the pro ship server, I just want to ask, how did the person taking the screenshot know that I was at a pro ship server without being in the server themselves? That's a little bit suspicious, isn't it? Also, I was not in that server for more than 24 hours. I wasn't even in there for 24 hours. And also has Analbones/Dylan completely forgotten the numerous times I have brought up pedophiles within his own server and gotten them banned. Dylan also likes to act that he wasn't on my side when the whole drama started. He was on my side. He was actually pretty neutral about it. He didn't care about the drama that was going on. He just had me banned because people were asking him to have me banned. He only started flipping out when he realized that I was quote-unquote talking shit about his friend Burner. And now Dylan wants to defend Burner and all of his actions, but they have no clue how much evidence, like, that we have on him. The evidence has already been shown. Dylan just thinks that it was the quote-unquote fart jokes that were obviously not fart jokes. They were more than jokes. I would also like to bring up the Fat Guest AU that was made by Analbones. Now, the Fat Guest AU is an AU based on the Forsaken Roblox game. And this AU revolves around the character Guest 1337. From my knowledge of how the AU came about is that it was actually an ERP, erotic RP, that was done on Twitter between Analbones and somebody else. I don't know who this person was. And that is how the AU came about. Now, Dylan had actually been posting censored screenshots in the Fat Guest server, and even his own boyfriend had stated that he was uncomfortable, and Dylan just laughed it off. This shows that Dylan has no regard for people's feelings whatsoever, including the people that he cares about, or claims to care about. I was in the Fat Guest Discord server that Analbones had made. It was like a sister server to the Necrojimbo server. The amount of rape and necrophilia jokes that was in that server is actually kind of absurd, like hilariously absurd. Because there is a big portion of the AU where the story is, in fact, necrophilia between Guest and a character named Matt. And Dylan had, like, not everybody, but, like, a lot of people, and the server actually draw, like, their interpretations of the scene. And I had jokingly asked if I should join in. I never did. I never did join in, but Dylan and a few other people had actually gotten excited about me asking that, and were like, yes, you should draw it. Again, I never drew it because I don't do that stuff. Now, I was never in the original Analbones server, but my friend Patrick was, and he recalls multiple people, including Anal Bones, actually defending necrophilia, saying that it is worse for the perpetrator than the victim, because the victim is dead and therefore cannot be traumatized, quote unquote. Obviously, this is not true, and there are multiple studies on why necrophilia is bad, and there are multiple instances in history where necrophilia has been tried to be stopped. Coming back to Burner again, sorry I got a little off topic, but this video is about Burner, if you have forgotten. Burner has also expressed his want for killing people. Burner has also threatened to kill his ex-boyfriend, who he knew in real life. Burner has in his YouTube profile that his page is 18 plus, yet he lets minors under the age of 18 interact with his content, and he interacts with them frequently. Burner has also tried to coerce somebody into a necrophiliac roleplay. And once again, as of yesterday of this recording, he had one of his bootlickers actually upload my face to YouTube, but it immediately got taken down within not even 24 hours of it being up, thankfully, because I had a bunch of people report it. And thankfully that was taken down because this action of doing this to somebody, especially a minor, is illegal and is a privacy violation. Burner has also uploaded to his YouTube a Warrior Cats Ultimate Edition Roblox video that was a Roblox Heat video, which is basically just like Roblox porn. He says that it was satire and that he was either 16 or 15 when it uploaded, but why would he even make a video like that anyway? That's not funny. He has also commissioned my friend Patrick ship art between his Sona and Jimmy from Mouthwashing. Jimmy, if you don't know, is like a rapist. Moving away from Burner really quick, but staying on the topic of Jimmy from Mouthwashing, Anal Bones, also known as Dylan, has also drawn like rape art of Curly and Jimmy, not once, but twice. Also, Burner is just a big hypocrite because he says to me, "Oh, I believe that you're a good person" in this screenshot. And then he goes on my YouTube and makes posts for me to try and rage bait me. Another thing with him being a hypocrite, something that I mentioned at the start of the video was him shipping Fireheart and Darkstripe. That is a pro ship relationship. Not to mention for his Freckle Wish map, he had also said that he saw Freckle Wish having like a crush on her brother, which is like really fucking weird, and also allowed a part where Freckle Wish is blushing while her brother is on top of her. Burner has also shared on his YouTube a drawing by a minor depicting Steve from American Dad and Morty from Rick and Morty. Mind you, these two characters are 14, as shown in this screenshot. While this isn't inherently pro-ship of itself, this is still weird that you, as an 18-year-old, a full-grown adult with a job, are allowing this kind of content on your platform. And not only that, but when you post fetish content, you are also sharing minors' content on that same platform. Not to mention he had a 16-year-old draw his persona like hanging himself. And if Burner himself or any of his defenders want to like come into my comments and be like, "Oh, well, he was 16 in some of these screenshots, he was 15 in some of these screenshots," I am aware that just shows proof of how far his behavior goes and the fact that he has gotten worse over the years. Also, throughout this entire video, I am not at all saying that you cannot draw dark themes and dark topics and like have your characters have paraphilias, because some of my own characters have paraphilias like themselves, But what I am saying is that the way that he is drawing some of these things, he is very, very clearly fetishizing and romanticizing it. And even himself, he has asked people if they are necrophiles, which implies that he himself is a necrophile. I'm sorry that this video is like not organized at all and is all over the place. This video has been made in real time of Burner's actions and ongoing actions. So that's why some parts of the video are organized and others are not. But back to Burner being an absolute hypocrite. Recently he made a post saying how he doesn't like how people trace, like, literal memes that are supposed to be traced. And then he uploads this. Like, how can you make a post about, like, not liking people tracing memes, and then you go ahead and trace a meme? Aside from Burner, I want to talk about Dylan's most recent post on his Necrojimbo account on YouTube. Let me just read it. Why the Necrojimbo server was deleted. It was deleted because I was inactive for months. That's not true. He was actually inactive for a few days, like on and off. And when I was inactive, some slimeball thought it was a good idea to blame me for my other members' behavior when I wasn't moderating it, and when I put that job into the hands of others. Again, the slimeball is actually referring to me. Dylan, I never blamed you for any of the shit that your server members did, even though that is somewhat your fault, because you are the admin and you should be watching what your members are doing. And obviously, your mods are too incompetent to moderate a server. People just made me uncomfortable on that server anyway, and it was long deletion. I made the server and the community when I was a minor, aka 17. Dude, you're 18. That's not that long ago. And when I slowly matured and got tired of it, I just had enough. I thought abandoning the project and distancing myself was the answer, but instead I had to do a full whole stop deletion due to some retards on Twitter. Making private fan-made Necrojimbo servers are okay, I just don't want to be a part of it at all. Saying that you were a minor just as a singular excuse for doing something problematic makes it sound like you're saying that you were an incompetent baby. When in reality, that is not the case. You were very much old enough. This goes to both Burner and Dylan. Again, as I have said, this is only regards to the only excuse. You can put other excuses on top of that in order to explain yourself on why you did something as a minor. We also just got recent evidence that Burner made fan art of a character named Milos. He is from a Serbian film. Now, if you don't know, a Serbian film is basically just a snuff movie. There is a lot of really triggering things in there, such as rape, necrophilia, gore in general, and there is also a scene in the movie where an infant is sexually assaulted. And to nobody's surprise, Burner is a fan of this film. Burner also made a post in reference to replying to my post that I shared about an adult baby diaper lover killing a child. And his reply to that post was, "Who gives a shit what consenting adults do in their own time? I think some people are just jelly that people have fun in obscure ways." In this, he completely disregards the fact that adult baby diaper lovers sexualize diapers, which is something that is mostly for children, also babies in general. And I am in no way saying that an adult cannot wear a diaper, but an adult should only be wearing a diaper if they have some kind of brain damage, nerve damage, or anything else going on where they cannot control their bladder or bowels. Otherwise, you should not be wearing a diaper as an adult if you do not have a medical condition. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is Burner's interactions with Asher Incarnate is her username. Please, by all means, do not harass Asher. She does not deserve any of what has happened to her and any of the harassment that she has been through. So this starts at February 2024 when Burner and Asher were quote-unquote friends, but their friendship went downhill due to Burner being very ignorant and very careless about Asher, and would eventually call Asher a narcissist in the end of their friendship. Now, during this friendship, Burner would vent about his SA trauma. Now, I don't know any of the details of that stuff, that's not my business. But because Burner would vent about this, Asher thought, okay, so Burner is a safe person to vent about my kind of trauma too. Burner never claimed to be uncomfortable with any of these conversations and never told Asher, hey, can you stop? You're making me uncomfortable. None of that ever happened in Asher and Burner's DMs. Which, the thing is that all that Burner would ever talk about with Asher was NSFW conversations or content. And the reason that Asher thought this was okay was because Burner and Asher have a 10-month age gap, so Asher had just turned 18 at the time of these conversations, while Burner was 17. That, yeah, I've already stated, 10-month age gap, that's not that far out. And when Asher had turned 18, Asher had started experimenting with NSFW art, and they would share this kind of art back and forth between each other. Burner would draw NSFW art and share it with Asher. Now, here's where the quote-unquote narcissist thing comes in. Burner suddenly drops Asher in May of 2024, right before Asher graduated. Fast forward of nothing happening until October of 2024. Now, throughout the months up until October, Asher had warned some of her friends about Burner because of his behavior towards her. But in October of 2024, Burner suddenly starts making posts about Asher. Some of the people that were friends with Asher suddenly dropped Asher and became friends with Burner just to share whatever the hell they wanted with Burner about Asher to make her seem like a horrible, evil person. One of these people was Firecracker. Now, Asher found out that Firecracker was talking to Burner and confronted Firecracker about this. And Firecracker's excuse was that Burner's Sona was cool. Now, Burner would make vague posts about Asher before October and before Halloween. Asher had commissioned one of his friends for a $20 headshot, and Asher never received the result of that commission, so that was $20 down the drain, and Asher ended up being scammed. Asher had to contact PayPal for a refund about this because that person that they commissioned would not give them a refund and had dropped them completely. They had ghosted Asher. But here's the thing. That person was not completely off of the internet. They were still friends with Burner and ended up being mad because they got a notice from PayPal about the refund. So, naturally, them being Burner's friend, they had vented to Burner about getting the PayPal notice for the refund, and had lied to Burner saying that Asher had scammed them. When in reality, as I have explained, that is completely the opposite of what happened. In March of 2024, Asher had asked Burner if there was any artists that Asher could commission for NSFW. The person that Burner ended up recommending is a person named Malachi, or Rowan the Kitty Dog. And at the time, Malachi was 15 years old. Of course, Asher is not going to commission a 15-year-old for NSFW as an 18-year-old. When Asher brought up this concern of Malachi's age to Burner, Burner said, "Do not tell Malachi your age." And now Asher also remembers that Burner had mentioned being in some kind of relationship with Rowan. Now, Asher goes to commission Malachi slash Rowan for a safe for work commission and asked what the prices were. Rowan responds $45. And now Asher finds this a little odd because Burner had paid $6 for a commission from Rowan. Now Asher asks Burner why this is the case, and Burner says, "Probably because I'm his boyfriend." Now, this is not bad at all because Burner and Rowan have a 2-year age gap. That's not pedophilia at all. Even Asher herself states this. Now, Burner contradicts himself for this because later on he goes on to attack Asher for a 1-year age gap. Burner also says that Asher groomed him. Now, all of the evidence for this has already been debunked. All of the evidence for the claims of Asher grooming Burner, that has been debunked. Now, Burner goes on to make posts and says that Asher had drawn NSFW of him while he was a minor. Now, Burner fails to mention the 10-month age gap. Not even a year, a 10-month age gap. Now, on Wikipedia, it states here that the DSM-5 requires that a person must be at least 16 years old and at least 5 years older than the prepubescent child or children they are aroused by for the attraction to be diagnosed as pedophilic disorder. Similar to this, the ICD-11 excludes sexual behavior amongst post-pubertal children who are close in age. The DSM requires the arousal pattern to be present for at least 6 months or longer, while the ICD lacks this requirement. So it literally says here that children who are close in age are not considered pedophiles if they interact sexually. Now, this begs the question, can a minor groom another minor? Yes. Minors can manipulate other minors. Grooming is another word for manipulation, but this is not what happens here. Back to Burner talking about Asher supposedly grooming them. Burner says, "Oh, well, Asher is an adult and I'm a minor." So, obviously, everybody automatically assumes, oh, this is like a 35-year-old and a 15-year-old kind of situation. Now, Asher and Burner did end up doing an NSFW art trade. Now, here's the thing. That was consensual. Now, Burner goes on to call Asher a pedophile because some of the people that were Asher's friends told Burner about all of the quote-unquote trauma dumping that Asher had done when she was just venting. She was venting about her essay trauma to people that were younger, and at the time, she thought that these people understood and sympathized with her, even empathized. Because, it's natural to think that people who seem to like you have empathy. Now, Asher does admit that she shouldn't have done that, but she didn't know at the time that it would be used against her. Burner also claims that Asher was quote-unquote grooming her audience because the people that were defending her and still defend her to this day are minors. And some of the people that she's friends with that are and aren't minors, she's been friends with them since 2021. Now, fast forward to New Year's. Burner starts posting again, calling Asher a pedophile and a groomer. Burner then goes on to make an art piece that was called Kill Your Local Creep, where he was licking a decapitated head of Asher Sona. Fast forward to February of 2025, Burner starts posting about Asher again, calling her a pedophile for a relationship that she was in with somebody named Odin.
Now, I'm gonna let you in on a little not so secret. The relationship was not pedophilia. It was a 1-year age gap.
Now, Odin and Asher were friends since they were 12 and 13. Odin and Asher are not friends anymore, and they had gotten into a relationship at the end of January of 2025. This was when Asher was 18 and Odin currently is 17. And then, Asher turns 19, which suddenly makes her a pedophile? Again, that's still a 1-year age gap. Asher's birth year is 2006, meanwhile, Odin's is 2007. We also have evidence of Burner basically instructing Asher on how to kill herself, and then went on to say that Asher had suicide baited because she was actually suicidal and was going to kill herself. Burner to this day still posts about Asher. So, yeah. Links to the stuff that he has done will be in the description, also including a link about anal bones. Will be in the description. My friend Patrick will be making a video about anal bones and his experience with anal bones. I will also put the document to myself and my situation, which is also in one of the anal bones documents at the end, talking about my situation and debunking that document about me. This video was created at the start of June. All of the drama with me has started from April. The document about me was made in December and has actually had things deleted from it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video through, and yes, I am aware that some of my opinions in this video are completely biased. What is my final take on this? Is Burner a bad person? Yes, he's a dangerous person. He needs to get help. Serious help. I completely understand if you still dislike me or think that I am a creep, even though I have explained myself at the start of this video to the best of my ability. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but I have fully exposed myself. Thank you. I love you all. Goodbye.